Yeah, I think we're ready. All right, we're ready for our work session. Let's begin with 129 North Bompart. Any comments from the board? I know this is one we've seen.
I think the revisions are fine. They look like they're thought out and coherent.
Yeah, I agree with Carol. Look like they did what we pretty much asked them to do. So.
Yeah. Same. All right. That's a public hearing, so we'll have to discuss it in any case. Next, we have 610 Cornelia Avenue. Any comments from the board on this one?
I think it's a nice.
To see that.
Yeah.
And it's also nice to see the very thoughtful front design and beautiful hand-done rendering. That's good to see too. I'd like to maybe discuss with them about getting some more windows and interest on the side elevations. And, I've got some maybe specific areas we could talk about, but we can walk through that with the applicant perhaps.
Yeah, some of the windows don't have grids and others do, and the trim's not consistent from one side to the other. So I think we need to find out what's going on there.
And I like the board and batten on the front of the home. I was wondering if they would consider wrapping it on the left side to make it the same on that little portico that's going down the side of the house.
Yeah, I had that same comment because at the front, we've got board and batten, and then that column that comes down, it changes once you turn the corner,
Yeah.
So I was thinking, yeah, you could either wrap the board and batten around, or maybe you take the board and batten off and do horizontal above that entryway,
Right.
so that it terminates like in the inside corner instead of an outside corner. So then it would just be the right side of the front elevation
Yeah.
that has a board and batten. And on the others, where it wraps off on the other side of the front, I guess that would be the right-hand side. That's just kind of the corner of the building, and I guess it just changes there at the corner, but that didn't bother me as much as having two different materials on the side of that column.
Yeah. And also the front elevation's really nice. I was wondering why that fourth window didn't have a pair of shutters on it.
Yeah, I had the same comment.
I didn't even notice that.
I mean, shutters are just decorative, but still.
All right. We'll discuss that in the meeting. Next, we have 221 Parkhurst Terrace.
No, I had no comments.
No, I think it looks fine.
That's good.
Yeah, I agree. I think we could move this one to pre-approval.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone agrees. All right, next one on our list is 684 North Forest Avenue.
Yeah, I think this submittal can use a bit of housekeeping. The north arrow on the site plan doesn't match the floor plans. And then we really don't see the addition in the context of the existing house, except the rear elevation. And then when you add to that the floor plans are rotated 45 degrees from the site plan, trying to orient and see what this is really going to look like was a bit of a challenge. And there's some elements on the existing house that did not show up on the elevations. They're either missing or incorrect. There's a dormer missing, that chimney's missing. So when you're trying to orient in the plans, it was difficult. there's a existing window on the back that the photographs show as a double, but the drawings show as a triple. And there's on the side elevation, there's an existing high half round that shows up on the plan as a double hung. And so I'm kind of wondering what the scope actually is. And then as far as the addition itself goes, we have a mix of grill and no grill windows.
Right.
There's grill double hungs on the side and no grill fixed encasement on the front and the rear. And I'm just wondering if that's the intent, or, you know, I'm thinking a way to maybe make it look more intentional might be in the areas of the contemporary addition to have all the windows that are on the vertical sided parts be casement, no grills, and then the ones like the little transition area where there's horizontal siding, that could be the grilled, more traditional window, while the other windows in the contemporary addition are more of a contemporary style. I think that would help make it look a little more coherent.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take it another direction. You've got three different styles of roof on the existing house. You've now introduced a fourth. So, you know, I have a little bit of an issue with that in terms of how cohesive, like you said, with how this all comes together and looks, as part of the architecture. So I'm having a problem with that. The board and batten siding in itself is nice, but the way in juxtaposition to the existing house, I'm not real comfortable with the look. It just strikes me as not, something that is cohesive. So, but what your other comments, absolutely, I totally agree.
I think it would be very helpful to be able to see the size and the massing
Right.
of the new addition, especially from the front, even though the addition is pushed back. I think that would help us give a more informed review of the project.
Right.
Any additional comments? All right, we can discuss that project at the regular meeting as well. And that's our list. So we're going to take a recess till 5:30. We'll talk to everyone again then. Thanks. All right. 5:30, I think we're ready to begin. Official meeting. Thank you, everyone. We finished our work session. The official Architecture Review Board meeting is now underway. Introduce Jim Bailey with the city, Carol Dunkey and Tracy Collins, Chuck Yannicki and David Yates, and myself, Bob Buckman, all volunteer architects on the board. First item of business is review of meeting minutes from November 21st. And I believe everyone is here in attendance. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the November 21st meeting minutes as written.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting minutes are approved. Next, we have a pre-approval. So I'm going to ask for a motion on 221 Parkhurst Terrace.
I'll make a motion to approve 211 Parkhurst Terrace as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, 221 Parkhurst Terrace is approved. So if you're here for that, you're free to go. At this point, if we call your project, we'd ask that you come up and introduce yourself to the microphone in front. And if you're on Zoom, to raise your Zoom hand, and Jim will add you to the discussion. First one is a public hearing, 129 North Bompard Avenue.
Good evening. I'm Paul Turner. I'm the architect.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Bob.
How are you guys doing? David,
Great.
long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Paul. Well, we saw this one last time, so I don't think we had any comments.
Yeah, we thought, I think we all agreed that the revisions look great.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. We do too.
So that was good.
Yeah. Good. All right.
Great. All right, thank you,
Have a
Paul.
good evening. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
It's a public hearing. Is there anyone else present that wants to make a comment on 129 North Bompard? And seeing or hearing no one, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 129 Bompard as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? All right, all approved. Thanks. Have a good evening. Next, we have 610 Cornelia Avenue.
Good evening. My name's Don Flower with Flower Homes. That's my daughter Sarah. She came tonight to watch this because it's going to be her house.
Oh,
Oh,
So she wanted to live in Webster with her husband and my two grandchildren.
great.
So I designed this home for them on this lot. And as you started to talk about in the work session,
Yeah,
very difficult lot.
yeah.
It has 15 feet of fall from high in the right rear to low in the left front. So the house is a creative design to deal with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the other
Great.
thing I had to deal with is they have a very limited budget. So we normally deal in more ultra high end homes. We do a lot of tear down and infill in Clayton, in Ladue, Town and Country, a little bit in Brentwood. This, I was dealing with budget and style all at the same time. So anyway,
Sure.
I heard some of your comments. I'm happy to go through it with you. I brought a couple of samples of things that we're using.
All
A
right.
little bit of an upgraded board and batten siding. That's a little bit of an upgraded brick also. It has a little more of a tumbled look. We use a white mortar with that and smear it a little bit on that brick and give it a little bit of a rubble feel to it. So those are things that we've used before that I really like how they look. So I've worked a few of those into the exterior and I did the little design for you with and colored it.
The little
So-
sketch.
It at least shows a little bit of the massing on the front, you know, that you can see a little bit of color.
Okay, great. Well, we can start with, I think, some comments about the vertical siding and how it turns at the corner. I think that was one.
Right, and that's, taking each one of them as you go through. I made a decision not to wrap that vertical around the corner. It was a money decision. I agree with you that I wrestled with that quite a bit because I would like that post at the corner to be one thing. So I would propose if you want me to do this, I'm not disappointed to do it because I think it improves the look. I was, again, just fighting a money issue there. If we ran that straight down the side, equal in height to what it is on the front right there, and leave a little bit of horizontal siding in the gable itself, it would somewhat match what's going on the front. And it would allow me to run that board and batten down on those legs on all the way down that end. So I'm agreeable to doing that. In other words, we'd put the vertical on that elevation, just not all the way up into the gable, if that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
On the side.
Run it along the left side all the way.
Left side.
To a band board, maybe.
I would put a ribbon board across there, yes.
There would be a horizontal ribbon board.
There'd be a horizontal ribbon
to-
board.
To break it between the
Exactly.
gable and the rest of it. And then that element where the drive under is would all have
It would all-
vertical side.
It would all be vertical
Okay,
there.
okay. Just making sure I understand correctly.
Okay, so whole face is not just, I was
Yeah.
picturing just the column.
Okay.
Okay.
I think there were some other comments, Carol.
Yeah, I was, I think that the front design looks very nice and I can tell a lot of thought was put into this. I'd like to discuss with you, adding some more windows on the side. Particularly the right side elevation seems to have an awful lot of expanses of siding that are unrelieved.
I agree with that, but
Ah.
the thing that's missing from this in 3D is that there's a wood fence all the way down that side that is 7 feet off that side wall. And the only place I could really add along that lower stretch of wall would be into the family room right there. And I have a lot of windows in the back of the house that service that room intentionally to look out to the backyard. So I didn't put any there. There is a spot more to the front that would go into that front, what I'm calling kind of a studio or office. I could put a window in the center of that one, which would add a window more towards the front of the house where it might be seen more from the road. And I can certainly do that.
Okay, I think that would be good idea where you, what style did you envision there? Was that be like a double hung?
I would use a double hung to match the two windows that are in the front, and I would do the same grill pattern on that window.
Okay, that sounds very good.
While we're on that for just a moment, on that elevation, you had mentioned the inconsistency of grills
Mhm.
on this. The two stairwell windows there, I wrestled with that a little bit because they are a fixed window and it's a little more difficult for me to do the Craftsman style split there, but I could add full grills in those windows if you want.
I personally think that would be nice for
Yeah.
consistency to add grills there. And then also, when we're talking in terms of consistency, it looks like we've got some areas where there's trim around the windows and some areas where there's no trim. So if we could make that trim more consistent throughout, I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, I was trying not to do that because it really starts, all these little things, I know to do it. But it was a question of how much do I want to spend doing it on an area of the house that's not visible from the road or can't really be seen from the rear. So I intentionally left it inconsistent. If you have strong feelings about that, I won't argue about it, but I'm attempting to not.
How does the siding terminate at the window
into a J channel.
Oh, J
It's
channel,
built
okay.
into the window. The
Okay.
windows are about just shy of 3 inches wide on their own. So it doesn't, it still has a little bit of a look of an outline to those windows. I agree it's not the same as me adding more wood around the front windows. But I don't think the look is bad without it. And it's, again, it's a money issue. That's all.
Yeah,
And I thought it was hidden enough.
you know, I'm looking at the left side elevation and at the right side elevation, and those two are not consistent.
I understand.
And
The
also,
left side I felt showed a little bit more because it's down lower, it's more visible from the street. And so I thought I should treat it, not let that go. But the right side, although the upper windows on the right side, you might see those from the street, but
you know, your remark about the fence, things like fence and landscaping, we don't really rely on those to always be there because as we know, sometimes landscaping dies or sometimes fences get torn down. So we look at the building itself rather than what it's being screened by.
Mhm.
So I really feel, I know it's a cost issue, but I think it would help make the project look more finished and cohesive to go ahead and have the level of trim that you have on the left side carried around the house.
So add the trim around the windows.
Yes, please.
Well, it just looks like, with, just to kind of iterate what Carol's saying, it's on the left, it's on the front, and it's on most of the back. So it seems like the right is just kind of its own little thing, and not, it's consistent.
Was it a cost issue then not to add shutters on the front elevation and the one windows that are adjacent to the entrance?
I left those off. It had nothing to do with cost there. I have a stained color front door.
Oh, okay.
And then I had stain on the shutters up above,
Mhm.
and then I had stain on the other window down low.
Okay.
And on the double window, I felt like an actual appropriate, because I have these shutters built for the windows.
Yeah.
And I thought that would get a little wide there, and I was kind of surrounding it with
Gotcha.
stain color.
Yep.
Mm.
Okay.
So I had a reason
point.
for not putting them on that window.
Okay.
I mean, I personally am okay with the way that's shown without the shutters. I mean, it's
I think
okay
it'll be
for me.
cute.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very nice looking front elevation. See what else we can do here. Let's see, on the rear, would there be the possibility of sliding one of those two windows, the one that's upstairs and the one that's downstairs, kind of sliding those to align a little bit? I mean, it's okay the way it is, but if you'd be open to aligning those vertically.
You're saying the second story window versus the one down below?
Yeah. It's,
They're very far away from each other.
yeah, I was just trying to, everything else on that elevation is so orderly. I mean, it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, they are. They're
Yeah, the one down below is a little storage room. The
Uh-huh.
door is off of that patio back
Yeah.
there. And I was trying to get that window kind of in the middle of it. I can move it, but I think where it is in the wall in the backyard, because you can't see the other one
Yeah.
Yeah.
almost at all from the
I think,
backyard.
yeah, I like
All right.
the way you've got that one centered with the planter. So, like I said, that was just kind of a minor point. I do appreciate, on the right side, doing the trim and,
I've
adding-
added that to my drawing.
yeah, that looks good, and adding those grills and adding that window.
And I would add grills in the back on the little window.
That sounds good.
So
Sounds good.
I would have them all be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think, kind of take a look through here.
How does the process work for these changes? If I say I'm doing the changes,
If we're in
Good.
agreement, then we can put that in our motion as.
so
part
you
of
would,
the-
you would say, you would just make, you would
as
make
a
me do it by
condition of
word,
the-
not to come back to another meeting.
I think that, these changes seem.
Right, typically, yeah, no. No, oh, you can speak, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, these changes seem to be pretty minor that will, that we can visualize and understand what
Okay.
they're gonna look like, so they can be a condition of our approval.
Great.
And then when you submit for a permit, they'll just check off that you've addressed.
So when I
these
turn the
issues.
drawings into you, then you would verify that I've done it. Okay. And that's typically the way it is if it's more minor like this. So I just wasn't sure how you handled
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
This
just-
is my first time here. I'm a newbie.
Well,
Well, you're doing great.
Good.
Um,
Good.
We're easier than Clayton.
Say again.
I said we're easier than Clayton. It's on record.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Tracy, you have anything
Nope.
else to add? Chuck?
I'm fine. Looks good. Good set of plans.
Yeah,
Um,
it was an unusual project. I labored over that for a while, trying to figure out what am I going to do with this lot?
Well, I mean, it's very specific to the site, which is what's appreciated.
Yeah, it is very specific to the site and I think it'll be cute and it's kind of a really neat location for my daughter and her husband. They really like the idea of being here. So I hope it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, you could have brought in a lot of fill or done a lot of cut and made it a flat site and
Yeah, I didn't want to do all that. I needed to find a way to transition the grade and the house is in essence a big retaining wall. It holds it up and back
Yeah.
and then walks out on the side. So it worked out.
It's great. Yeah, if there's no other comments, I think,
Yeah, but I've been kind of sketching what we've been discussing and I think, I think we're good.
right, with the
Yeah.
trim and the returning the side.
And I've added grills and I've added all the surrounds on my drawings here too.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, I think with that, I'll ask Carol to make a motion.
Yeah, okay, here we go.
I'll step back.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve 610 Cornelia with the following conditions. The vertical siding will be continued around the left side elevation at the area of the drive-through. There'll be a band board separating the vertical siding from the horizontal siding at the base of the gable. On the right side elevation, there'll be a double hung window that matches the front window added into the office. All of the windows will have grills. All of the windows will have trim matching the trim level that's currently shown on the left side elevation. Is there anything else? I think that's it.
Second,
Go ahead.
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank
All right, you gather approved. You're welcome. You as
Thank
well.
All right.
Yeah, happy holidays. All right. Next, we have 684 North Forest Avenue.
Alex Blaze with Blaze Architects. And I do have some additional images as well,
Alex.
to help visualize that. And I caught a little bit of the pre-meeting, and I just wanted to note that the windows, there are a couple of minor errors. All of those should be single hung casements, or should just be single casement windows with no subdivisions on the addition portion of the home. At least on the board and batten portion of the home. Which I believe the images that I passed around do reflect as well.
Right. So there are some revisions in the renderings that
Correct.
aren't currently shown on the black and white elevations, right?
Yes, that is with the update, with the windows updated to be correct with the just casements for all of those windows.
Yeah, I think that's an improvement. However, with the amount of perspective that we're seeing here in these spot elevations on the new submittal, I would still like to see a drawing straight on that shows the proportions better than what's illustrated here.
Of the full home, you mean, or?
Yeah, of the full home with the addition. Because, that I think would help us visualize more about some of Chuck's comments about the number of different roof configurations. And also, I would just like to see it in the context from the front. And so we can really get a good look at what this is like. Because I drove by there and that side elevation is very prominent from the street. So I think it's worth just taking a step back, getting the housekeeping items like the north arrow, get that consistent. Get your existing architecture consistent. If there's a half round window there, show a half round, not a double hung, just that kind of thing. If it's
Regarding the different roof conditions, virtually all of those are existing. The only change we're doing is we're extending the existing shed roof on that existing rear addition.
Mhm.
And our intention was essentially to reflect that style of roof with the new structure.
Yeah, those were actually Chuck's comments about the roof configuration. Chuck, would you like to
Yeah,
address
it's just,
your feelings on that?
Seemed like we had a lot going on with these different roof styles and I was looking for a little bit more consistency in the architecture in terms of the existing house and the addition. And then you said you have, these are all casement windows? you're putting in?
On the new structure, yes. Well, on the new board and batten portion of the
Yeah.
house. There is
On the
one-
revised, on the revised.
Yes, on the revised images.
So there's one fixed window on the south, right?
I
And
believe
the
that would
rest
be the
are-
one in the shower.
Okay.
Yes, I believe is fixed.
Yeah, and then the rest of them are all casements is what, with no grills, correct?
Except that,
Yes,
that transition piece where you have the
yes, there
the
is one
horizontal.
double hung window.
I think
on-
that's, yeah, that would look good because that's the more traditional
Mhm.
connector piece. That's fine.
I mean, is the volume of the interior space being reflected on the interior? I'm just curious, is
I
the shed
believe
roof-
we had talked about doing that as a, vaulted inside there as one of the options we were looking at doing, yes.
I mean, I was just kind of curious about the inspiration for the roof form,
Mhm.
driven from the inside out. And it sounds like it is.
Mhm.
Was there any thought to maybe doing scissor trusses in there to still get that, higher ceiling effect and kind of mimic what the gable ends are with the existing house or?
I know we had looked at doing that at one point. I believe the design moved more towards the current though. Just the client much preferred this design. And especially with it dying into the existing shed roof dying into it. The new shed roof felt a little bit better.
Mhm.
Or dying into the wall of the house that is, or the wall of the addition.
So I'm looking at the roof plan to the photos and the large hip dormer.
Yes, that is, there is one of those on each side. I apologize. the original drawings, there were some minor changes, removing an existing deck that were made late in the process, basically the same day we turned in the submittal. And that side of the house was originally not really shown on the drawing, so it wasn't.
Oh, so there's gonna be. on the
There
roof-
is an existing another dormer,
Okay,
large dormer
okay,
on the other
okay.
side of the house, so
Yeah,
that is
okay.
symmetrical.
I got confused, like.
Yeah,
if
that
was-
is-
If that was a mirrored image or something.
Yeah, no, that was my bad. It was just not drawn on there due to the original, how the original drawings were shown.
So what kind of finish are you proposing to put on the exposed concrete?
I'm not entirely sure we had discussed that.
Oh, I see.
It's
Yeah.
painted concrete
Right.
foundation, correct?
Dark gray or something.
Yeah, so you just painted the match. All right, any other comments? I
So
guess-
just question, I guess, for board members and such and for our applicant. So essentially, there's no work to the existing house, like the chimney that's there but not shown, that stays, the dormer
We're not
stays.
changing anything on the existing
Right.
home, barring extending that existing addition with the shed roof to meet the new structure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to clarify that like these windows that are shown, they're existing, but they're shown incorrectly on the drawings. I'm just trying to find a way to clarify that those
Yes,
are not in
nothing
the
is
scope
changing on-
of the work.
Nothing is changing on
Okay.
the existing home.
Okay.
Right. Okay, yeah, I mean, basically the modern addition is all we're really reviewing. There's
Mhm.
no work on the house.
Correct.
The existing house itself. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't really, from a design standpoint, I don't have any comments to make on the design itself. I think the renderings kind of help clarify some of the.
And the change of the window styles help
Yeah.
a lot.
Even though there's some things that need to be changed on the drawings, I'm okay with the with the design as it's submitted. I don't know if anyone else has anything else to add to that or.
I'm okay. To the point about the roof, it seems that the original house was added on a number of times in the past with
Yes.
with no care about the roof pitch.
No, there was clearly, there were clearly several phases of additions to the original
Or
home that,
gable, or, eve, no eve, whatever,
Mhm.
I'm okay with a fifth roof style.
Yeah. All right, I think with that, I'll just ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve 684 North Forest Avenue with the understanding that the approval is based on the revised renderings received this evening and that there will be no changes to the existing house except for the addition of the small connector piece in the front and the exposed concrete on the new addition will be painted to match the existing.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, you're approved.
thank you.
You're welcome. All right, that will adjourn the meeting. Thanks all.